Dobrý den, ahoj, vítejte u nového videa a nového tématu. Welcome to my new video and a new topic. Today's topic is going to be the mysterious se and si, and I'm going to explain it in a nutshell. I'm going to give you a simplified version of how this works. Before I start with the topic, I would also like to remind you that you can still buy my new video course, One Czech Stories Are Never Better, with a 50% discount until March 25th, and the discount finishes tomorrow at 4 p.m. Prague time. And also my other two courses are available with a 30% discount, and you can find all the links in a pinned comment below the video. A teď se podíváme na téma se a si. I wrote two verbs here, ptát se, pamatovat si. Ptát se means to ask, pamatovat si means to remember. These two verbs are reflexive verbs because se and si are the reflexive part of the verb. We call them also the reflexive pronouns. And in this video, I'm going to tell you all the information you need to know about when se and si is used. Jdeme na to. I'm going to divide the use of se and si into 6 categories in total. I didn't want to leave out any category, but because I don't want this video to be extremely long, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples for each category. And I'm going to divide this video into 2 parts. In today's video, you will see the first 3 categories, and next week I will show you the other 3 categories. Let's start with category number 1, which is when se and si are obligatory. These verbs that I wrote down here do not exist with se or without si. You just have to learn them and learn which of these two go together with them. Here we don't really make distinction what the se actually means. It's just a part of the verb, and it's not very logical to translate what the function of these are in this particular category, in the obligatory category, because they are just part of the verb. I also wrote both imperfective and perfective verbs. Let's see first the se category. Ptát se and zeptat se, to ask. Ptát se is imperfective, zeptat se is a perfective verb. For example, děti se pořád na něco ptají. Children always ask something. Zeptám se maminky. I'll ask my mom. Zeptám se maminky. And again, you cannot use either of these verbs without se. Dívat se, podívat se. To look or have a look. Dívám se na film. I'm watching a movie. Podíváme se na film. We will watch a movie. Smát se, zasmát se. To laugh and to have a laugh. Čemu se směješ? What are you laughing about? Tomu vtipu se nezasmál. He didn't laugh about the joke. Next one is only possible in the imperfective form. Bát se, to be afraid. In present tense, this is bojím se, bojíš se, etc. Bojíš se tmy? Are you afraid of the dark? Then we have narodit se, to be born. Narodila jsem se v Československu. I was born in Czechoslovakia. I only wrote the perfective form. It's impossible to say narodila jsem v Československu. We do have the verb rodit. That would be the imperfective one, but it means to give birth, and that one doesn't go with se. Rodit, to give birth. So we could say narodit se practically means to give birth to yourself, that you are the one who gets born. You could see from the examples I gave you that it doesn't matter what tense we use, so we can use it in present or in future, in past. We always have the se part, and the se doesn't change its form no matter what the pronoun is. For example, ptám se, ptáš se, zeptal jsem se. I am not going to talk about the word order here in this video because it would be even longer. I'm asking, you're asking, I asked. And they all have se. I only gave you 5 sets of reflexive verbs that take the obligatory se part. And there are maybe about 40 more that would be common, maybe about 50. Se is much more used than si. You can find a downloadable document under this video so you can see more examples. Now let's see the verbs with si. Again, I wrote both imperfective and perfective forms. Pamatovat si, zapamatovat si. To remember. Pamatuju si to. I remember that. Nemůžu si to zapamatovat. I can't memorize it. Zapamatovat can also mean like memorize. Lehat and lehnout si. To lay down. Proč si leháš? Why are you laying down? As in like, why are you getting ready to lay down at this moment? We use the perfective form much more. Lehnout si, já si lehnu. I will lay down. Tatínek si jde lehnout. Dad is going to lay down. Stěžovat si a postěžovat si. To complain. Babička si stěžuje na bolesti zad. Grandmother complains about back pain. Postěžovat si is to have a complaint just once. Postěžovali jsme si na politiku. We complained about politics. Uvědomovat si, uvědomit si. To be realizing and to realize. Uvědomuješ si to? Do you realize that? Uvědomila si tu chybu. She realized that mistake. Zvykat si, zvyknout si. To be getting used to and to get used to. Lucka si zvyká na nové auto. Lucka is getting used to a new car. Na to si zvykneš. You'll get used to it. Let's see another category. The second category is when the use of si and se specifies the meaning. I am going to give you an example with the verb to wash. Meet with y, to wash. When we use this verb, we naturally say what we wash. So we have to use an object. I could say myju auto. I wash or I'm washing a car. This sentence doesn't say, is it my car? Is it somebody else's car? Myju auto. I'm washing a car or I'm washing the car. However, if I add si and I still have to use an object, this means it's mine, or whatever I am washing is my body part or my possession. Myju si ruce. I'm washing my hands. In Czech, we don't say myju si moje ruce or myju moje ruce because that's not how we form the sentences. Si in this case would work as my, the English my hands. I brush my teeth, čistím si zuby. I wash my hands, myju si ruce. So you use si and that means it's a part of yours or it's your possession, and then you still have to use that object. You could say myju si auto. It would mean I'm washing my car. What you are saying literally with this reflexive pronoun, it's called the reflexive pronoun as I mentioned, I wash hands to myself. I could have a very similar sentence. Myju ruce dětem. I'm washing my children's hands. I'm washing hands to my children. But if I'm washing my own hands, then I add si. Myju si ruce. And then when you use se, you cannot use the object. Mít se, it means to wash oneself. Once you say myju se, it means I'm washing myself. Or it doesn't have to be only a já person. It could also be myjeme se. Myli jsme se, we washed ourselves. Whether it's showered or bathed, it means we simply washed ourselves with water. So remember, once you use myju se, you cannot use an object because se already means oneself. Here we could replace it by a full form sebe, which means oneself. But we don't use it in this context unless we wanted to emphasize myju sebe, ne tebe. I'm washing myself, not you. The same case would be with the verb čistit, which means to clean or brush teeth. Čistit boty. Čistíme boty. We are cleaning shoes. Čistíme si zuby. We are brushing, cleaning our teeth. Čistíme si boty. We are cleaning our shoes. Čistíme se. We are cleaning ourselves. There are more verbs like this. Maybe you know the case with the verb objednat se, objednat si, and objednat plus an object, but I'm just not going to be able to fit it in this video. Our third category is when adding se or si changes the meaning a little bit more. I would also like to add that the use of se and si is exclusive. So if you want to use se, you cannot mix them, you cannot use them both in one sentence. So you either use se or si if you need it. Let's have a look at 3 verbs that would change meaning with adding se. The verb vrátit and vrátit se. Vrátit means to return, to give back. These ones would actually go with an object. So it's plus object. We naturally say what we return. Kuba mi vrátil knížku. Kuba returned, gave me back the book. Knížku is the object. He returned the book to me. Vrátit se means to come back, to return. But literally this means to return yourself, to give yourself back. Kuba se vrátil domů. Kuba returned home. He came back home. Here we don't use an object. Why? Well, because se means himself, the whole person. So he's back. We cannot use another object. Ztratit and ztratit se. Ztratit, to lose something. Ztratili jsme klíče, missing a T here. Ztratili jsme klíče, we lost the keys. Again, ztratit goes with an object. We have to have an object because ztratili jsme is incomplete. What did we lose? You have to have an object there. Ztratit se, again, to get lost, and literally this means to lose yourself. Ztratili jsme se, we got lost. Here we don't mention the object. Ztratili jsme se. Učit and učit se. Učit means to teach. Zuzka učí češtinu. Zuzka teaches Czech. Učit se means to learn or study. And what it means literally is to teach yourself. Učím se německy. I am learning German. I am teaching myself German. And again, there are more examples. I'm sure you know the difference between meet, to have, and meet se, to speak about your emotional state. Mám kolo, I have a bicycle, versus mám se dobře, I'm good, I'm well. Okay, let's see the other category, si. I wrote 2 pairs here. These 2 with the green bullet point would need an object again. So here, si would correspond to oneself rather than oneself. So we could say it has a function of an indirect object, and this has a function of a direct object. So let's see first the non-reflexive verb. Půjčit. Půjčit is to lend. We naturally have to have an object. Půjčíš mi 100? Will you lend me 100? Půjčit si means to borrow. And literally this means to lend to yourself. Lend to yourself. Potřebuju si půjčit 100. I need to borrow 100. So notice here we have to add also an indirect object. Půjčíš mi. Will you lend me the 100? Will you lend the 100 to me? And here we don't use the indirect object because we have the si, which has that function, to myself. If we take this same exact sentence, potřebuju si půjčit 100, and we replace si by ti, for example, then it changes completely. Potřebuju ti půjčit 100 suddenly becomes I need to lend you 100. So this would be very different meaning. The opposite direction. Let's see another example. Říkat a říkat si. Říkat means to tell or say. Říkal jsem ti to včera. I told you yesterday. I told that to you yesterday. So I need an object. Usually I say what I said, at least to, and then whom I said it to. Říkal jsem ti. Říkal jsem vám. And when we say říkat si, is to tell to oneself. Říkal jsem si, že je to špatný nápad. I was telling to myself, as in like I was thinking. I was telling to myself that it was a bad idea. Říkal jsem si. If you took away si here, říkal jsem, it would mean that you said it out loud. So you said it publicly. You said it to somebody. Říkal jsem, že je to špatný nápad. I was saying that this is a bad idea. We could say, as I mentioned, that se in this category has a function of a direct object, and si has a function of indirect object. If you have a feeling for the direct and indirect object, this will help you. Dámy a pánové, to je pro dnešek všechno a příští týden bude druhá část. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all for today and next week we're going to have a look at the second part, the other 3 categories. Mějte se krásně a uvidíme se v pondělí, taky v druhém dílu o nářadí. I'll see you on Monday in the second part of the topic on tools.